Hello everybody, I'm Face, and welcome back to another Loomian Legacy PvP discussion video. A few days ago, Jamie dropped some news regarding changes to the type chart that are coming with the next update. So in this video, I'll be going over what those changes are and what effects these changes will have both in a general sense and in specific matchups. I'll also give my thoughts on who I think the winners and losers of these changes are, but we already knew I was going to do that, so I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm just going to jump right into it. So I'm just going to start with the list of changes right here. We have Fire now doing neutral damage to Dark. Plant being not very effective against Bug. Electric is not very effective against Spirit, so it's going to start doing half damage. Ice is not very effective against Metal. Light is not very effective against Bug. And Bug is super effective against Light. Bug is not very effective against Bug. Brawler is not very effective against Mind. Typeless is not very effective against Ice, nor Spirit. Brawler is super effective against Typeless. And then we have two changes that aren't quite fully decided yet, but they're still worth mentioning because they could mean big things. Those being Light being not very effective against Brawler, and Brawler being super effective against Dark. Those are all the changes, but who really cares about them? I'm just gonna give my thoughts on that. So overall, Vesperatu is definitely a big lover of these changes. Resisting Electric is not that important right now because the three current electric types right now, Zulong, Eliguana, and Ikazune. Though Ikazune is losing its fire advantage over it, Fire Breath will still destroy Vesperatu because it's just got insane range attack. But anyway, the other two can hit it for super effective damage, so that doesn't really matter too much. However, Fire being neutral against Dark is pretty big when considering the cases of Revenine and Serenite. Revenine used to be able to 2-hit KO Vesperatu, or in most cases 1-hit KO, because again, offensive Vesperatu is the most common, but defensive can take a hit, possibly 2. I have to double check the calcs on that. I'll probably throw that on screen. But yeah, Serenite no longer having super effective damage against Vesperatu is huge. Like, even offensive Vesperatu can eat up a Flaming Kick very well now. By very well, I mean it's not 2-hit KO'd. Defensive Vesperatu just slurps it up. Yeah, that's just a huge increase in for Vesperatu. And then also resisting Typeless, like I said, it turns Trumbull into setup fodder of all things. Trumbull, mainly because Battlehorn's getting nerfed. Now another huge lover of this update is going to be Terrorfly. Terrorfly, most people consider it only useful for poison barbs, which is true in a sense, but it also can provide some harsh pressure with ambush. It was just, it didn't have too much it could really pressure into switching to take advantage of ambush. Like before, it could cause Gastroc or Florant out because of type advantage. But now with the addition of light types being weak to Bug, that's going to force out Luminami, Eliguana potentially. I'd need to double check the damage on that. Luxor, but Luxor, rest in peace Luxor, you'll never see that thing ever again. But yeah, those in general, it's going to force more switches and thus you get bigger ambush returns. So that's really big for Terrorfly, and I consider it just a big winner of the update. Now, Ursol, I believe to be a huge winner of the update if both those uncertain changes come into fruition. I mean, at least one of them. It's really hinging on the Light being not very effective against Brawler, but if Brawler gets the super effective damage against Dark, that's also big. But yeah, it's mainly the resistance, because that gives Ursol free entry against something like Eliguana, and that's pretty darn big. Also to Clips, if Brawler comes with the light resistance, that means it's going to resist Gluminous Roar, and then it's also going to resist Raging Howl because of the Spirit typing. That's huge. And this is where the Brawler benefit would help if it's super effective against Dark, because then it could threaten with Quick Punch or Hop Kick, although probably Quick Punch. And that's just huge. Ursol going from 0 to hero 0 from the time it was released to this huge threat that it could potentially be with these changes in place. That's just huge, and Ursul's gonna love it. Now, the big losers of this update, of course there are more Loomians that benefit from this update, like Himber's a big one. It can come in against more things to get Icicle Trap up easier. Tob would be able to smack more things because of the brawler changes, and be able to come in against light types very easily because that quad resist. Here's the damage of Valkyrie, mainly because I forgot to record a thing involving Valkyrie. But that's the damage Tob would take from a Valkyrie, and yeah, that's insane. Dusket is another winner, like I said, because the change in the electric being super effective. It's the same boat as Ursul. It's going to be able to come in nearly freely against El Iguana. However, it's more threatened by paralysis than Ursul is, because Ursul has priority and Dusket doesn't. So now, people think Eclipse is like dead from this update because of the bug change. It's going to be quad weak to bug. Bug's going to quad resist Luminous Roar and that stuff. While that's true, Eclipse's bug matchup was already bad. It was already weak to bug, and bugs already resisted Luminous Roar. It was already going to get forced out by Terrafly. It's not really anything terrible for it. But it is getting a fire resistance because the dark type is dropping the weakness, leaving light to resist it. So it's going to be able to potentially wall Eruptodons. And that's a buff. That's just a buff straight up. That's good for Eclipse. However, if the Brawler changes come through, it will become weak to Brawler, so it becomes more susceptible to Ursul. Ursul in particular, but Tob too, because Ursul is going to resist everything it does, and Totob's just going to resist the stabs. So Eclipse does win and lose some in this update. Those are everybody, I believe, that benefits. Well, I mean, there are others, but those are notable ones. Now, the big losers. Oh boy. Trumbull and Mewtwo are a given. Typeless is getting smacked hard with the nerf. Trumbull in particular is getting it bigger because Battlehorn is also getting nerfed, if you don't already know. I don't know if it's a confirmed change or if Jamie was just throwing it out as a possible change looking for feedback, but Battlehorn is going to cost less energy to use, but you're only going to be able to use it one time while you're in battle. You'll be able to use Battlehorn once, and then you'll have to switch out and come back in if you want to use it again. That prevents the huge snowballing and the endless status evasion that Trumbull could have. Yeah, that's a big oof for Trumbull. Mewtwo, however, is actually going to get its original range attack back, so it's going to go back up to 134 range attack, but it still hurt more than it helps. Like, it's going to help it in general matchups, but Spirit and Ice are going to resist it, and Himber's one of those typings. Vesperatu too. Again, another thing for Vesperatu to have fun with. And then El Iguana is, depending on the Brawler matchup, El Iguana is going to lose a lot. Dusket's going to be able to come in. That's not the Brawler thing, but Dusket won't have to... Well, I mean, Dusket could really already come in before, but now it could, come in even better because it's going to be resistant to electric and then neutral to light. But that's just going to make it easier for Dusket to set up on an El Iguana if it doesn't have Taze. Taze will hurt Dusket though. But Luminami, I'd have to say, is a huge loser. We all know it's Lumipedia entry. That's the huge complaint about Luminami. It attracts bugs at night for it to eat. However, it's becoming weak to bug types. Yikes. As if Luminami wasn't weak to enough stuff, am I right? But yeah, Luminami is going to hurt because Terrafly is going to jump up in usage because people are going to want to play with the new weakness and try and get more ambush shenanigans going. And they're going to be able to resist its light stab, so Luminami's... It just gets worse with each update. Hopefully, Jamie does some stuff to improve it. Or, with some moves. But we'll have to wait and see for that. Now, there are other Loomians that are going to also lose a little bit, but they're not, really hindered greatly by these losses. Revenine losing its ability to hit dark types. It makes Eclipse wall it, but the bigger issue with that is Vesperatu. Like I said earlier, it's not going to be able to freely Oko it, or at least the offensive variants. So now it's just neutral to Vesperatu, and it does neutral to Vesperatu, and it is weak to Vesperatu, so that's fun. Eruptodon losing, well, it's pretty much every fire type losing out, because, you know, the only change for them is them losing the dark matchup, but mainly it hurts Eruptodon because he's supposed to be a wall breaker, and now to Eclipse he's added two things that can potentially wall it. If Eruptodon gets set up, obviously Eclipse is going to bend a little bit. And then Serenite, he's not really super hurt, it's just he's a notable loss because Vesperatu is going to be used a lot. So just to summarize, the winners of the update are Vesperatu, Terrafly, and potentially Ursul, and the big losers are Trumbull, Mewtwo, Eliguana, and Luminami. So before I go, I'm going to cover one more thing, and that's Shachi. Shachi, this update, people think is broken because it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. Is it broken? No. Why? Have you seen those defense stats? How the heck are you getting that in without, you know, sacking something off? Oh, but I could lead Shachi. But they could lead a Shachi counter, and that's generally what happens. See the video of me battling Beware. Jamie recently said, or mentioned, that there's a light type pivot move coming. That is interesting because if something like Luminami gets it, you know, Luminami is really slow. Base 60 speed is not a lot. If something like Luminami gets it, forces a switch against, what, Eruptodon? Eruptodon's hardballed by Luminami, so if Eruptodon is forced out and Luminami is this slow, bulky thing, or even, it doesn't even have to force anything out, it just has to eat a hit and then use the move. It can get Shachi in for free, essentially removing Shachi's one problem. That could be a very big issue, and that could make Shachi broken. Shachi's not going to do any more damage than this update, but it's going to get in for free to cause more havoc than this update. So yeah, Mind might... I don't think Shachi needs a nerf because it's still really frail and susceptible to revenge killing, but Mind in general might need a nerf, but that's my opinion. That's up to Jamie to figure, or Jamie and the dev team to figure out a resistance that makes sense for it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the type chart update. It's a really good update. The type chart was way too neutral. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the current type chart to the new type chart, and you can see a lot more red on that, meaning more things can take hits. Anyway, it's a really good change, and I'm glad it's coming. So yeah, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, make sure you, like the video, because that makes YouTube want to recommend it to other people, so that other people can see my stuff, so that other people are more informed, so that other people can get better at the game. That's my hope. People get good at the game. But anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you in another video. See ya.